To be an efficient YouTuber, you kinda need to automate as much as you can so that you can crack on with actually creating the videos rather than messing around setting things up in Davinci Resolve, as well as of course learning a handful of time-saving little tricks. So, here's mine. Here's some tips and tricks to help you create your YouTube videos just that little bit faster. And talking of creating things faster, this video is sponsored by Gling.ai, but more on those a little bit later. So first up, if every time you start a new project within Resolve, you're clicking on the little cog in the bottom right hand corner, opening up your project settings and setting your timeline resolution and frame rate manually, then stop. Because you don't need to do that manually every single time. What you can do is create preset and set a default. All you need to do, click on the little cog to open up the project settings, set your timeline resolution, frame rate and everything else that you need to set. Then click on the three little dots top right hand corner and you can set the current settings as default preset. So every single time you come into Davinci Resolve, this is what will be set. You can also create different presets. So you can save the current settings as a preset, give it a name, click on OK, and then every time you open up the project settings, you click your three little dots, you'll see all of your presets at the top. You can just go to whichever one you want, load it in, and job done. Just saving that minute every single time you open up a new project. Now you can actually take that a little step further using a little trick I've been using for years. Let me show you. On my desktop, I can simply double click on this icon. Davinci Resolve will automatically open, create this brand new project, and inside it will have this timeline, which has already got my video tracks and my audio tracks set up, and it's all at the correct frame rate and resolution. If I then simply hit save, it'll ask me for the name of this project and I can never overwrite that template on my desktop. And that is legitimately how I start every single one of these projects. Double click my icon, I'm in Resolve, all my settings are ready to go, so then I just need to import my footage and I can start editing. It's also easy to set up. All you need to do in Davinci Resolve, just create a brand new timeline, making sure that it's at the right resolution and frame rate and everything else that you need it to be. Then you just set up the timeline in the way that you usually would. So you can add as many tracks as you like. You can rename all of these tracks. So I'd call this one A-roll, for example. On the audio tracks, you could maybe come in and set the volume, maybe enable voice isolation if you're on the studio version, or add any of your audio effects. Then all you need to do, within the media pool, you right-click on the timeline, you go Timelines, Export, the top option, the AAF XML, then it'll ask you where you want to save. I'm just going to put this timeline 1 on my desktop, or I could rename it to just be YouTube or whatever I want. Hit save, and now I've got that icon on my desktop. I simply double click, it opens up Davinci Resolve, creates that new project, imports that timeline so it's all there, ready to go. You can then take that one step further still by exporting an entire bin instead. I've actually made a video about that in the past, so I've linked it down below. Now there's another super quick bonus tip I want to show you here. After setting up all of your audio on your timeline, simply jump over to the Fairlight page, click on Fairlight at the very top, come down to Presets Library, change the Filter By option to Fairlight Configuration Presets, and you can see I've got some presets already set up. Then simply click Save New. So I'm going to call this one YouTube just for this demonstration and click on OK. And the reason we do that is every time now in Davinci Resolve we create a new timeline, we have an option to use a Fairlight preset. And if we tick the box, we get all of those Fairlight presets as an option. So if I go to Alex Studio, which is my main one, and then click Create, this brand new timeline is going to have all of my audio tracks already set up. I've got my voiceover, music, sound effects, and within there I've got my dialogue leveler or my audio, all of my audio effects. So it's another real quick time saver. Boom! Legitimately saves minutes every single project. Next up, importing your media. Do it by folder instead of importing the individual files to create bins and help you stay organized within Davinci Resolve. It's dead simple. You simply grab the folder from your operating system, so in my case Windows, and drag it over here on the left hand side rather than in this main bit of your media pool. Release. And it's not just going to import the media, but it's also going to create the folders as well. Now that's even more important now going forwards because Davinci Resolve 19, which is currently still in beta, but you can download it if you want to, allows you to actually update these bins really quickly and pull in new media, which is pretty cool. Right, moving on. One of the most boring things we have to do, especially for YouTube when you're doing it over and over again, is cut up our A-roll. Getting rid of the silences, blank stares, curses, filler words, and all that sort of thing. Now that's where this video's sponsor comes in, Gling. Gling is designed specifically to save us YouTubers time by using AI to do all of that boring stuff for us. Simply import your uncut A-roll video into the Gling desktop app, which is exactly what I did for this video, by the way. Gling will upload the audio and the AI will not only transcribe it, but also automatically remove any pauses, filler words like and even get rid of bad takes in just a few minutes, leaving you with a already cut up, almost ready to go A-roll track. You can then preview the edit, customize the transcript, adding bits in or taking bits out if you want to, amend the pacing, and then even adjust the padding. Then you simply export the XML. There's also an option for a multicam XML. Then import that XML into Davinci Resolve and you're good to go. You've got a timeline that's already cut up and you can just amend it and begin having some fun doing the proper edit in Davinci Resolve. Or alternatively, you can stay within the Gling app, you can add smart captions, jump cuts, and remove noise from the audio, and then render it out directly as an MP4. There's even a handy customizable AI YouTube title and chapters generator too. Pretty neat. To get started, simply head over to gling.ai. There's a link down in the description below where you can get started and try it out for free. Next up, adjustment clips. I've talked about these a million times before. Everyone loves adjustment clips. They are awesome. In the effects library, under effects, right at the very top, you've got the adjustment clip. You put it on your timeline above everything else, and everything that you do to this adjustment clip will affect everything underneath. It's super useful for doing things like a punch in zoom, like this. So with my adjustment clip, I can just zoom in, maybe adjust the position a little bit, and wherever this adjustment clip is, it will simply punch in. We can make this longer or shorter, move it wherever we want, and it's way easier than messing around with keyframes or cuts. Then, if we simply hold the Alt key or Option if you're on a Mac, click and drag, and we can duplicate it really quickly on the timeline, doing our punch-ins in no time. Boom, done. And the joy of adjustment clips is that you can save them, thanks to my next tip, which is power bins. Power bins are simply bins or folders that you can access from all of your projects within your current Davinci Resolve library, meaning you can store handy things like this punch in, so you don't need to recreate it every single time. To enable the power bins, you simply open up the media pool, click on these three little dots right in the top right hand corner, and there is an option, Show Power Bins. Give that a click and the power bins will appear within your media pool. Now you can see I've already got a folder set up and I've got punch in, which I can just drop on the timeline, and there's my little punch in. And then I've also got my magic zoom, which is my free zooming tool, which again, I've linked down below if you want to go check it out. There's a free version and a premium version. So how do you actually save them? Well, with this adjustment clip on the timeline, it's got all of my settings set up. You can also apply effects to these. So if I wanted to go to open effects, maybe this had a blur on it or whatever you like, set this up however you want to. Then we open the inspector, go to file, and you can see name adjustment clip. Let's just call this one punch in 2. It will change the name on the timeline. Then you simply drag it into your power bin. And now every project you open going forward, that punch in 2 will be there. Drop it on your timeline and it's good to go. Sweet. Now sticking kind of with effects for a little bit, here's a quick fire round of super simple effects that exist within Davinci Resolve, which can work wonders. And first up, push. From the effects library, go to video transitions and find the push transition. And then you can put that on videos, images, PNGs, logos, titles, anything you like, and it will simply pop in from the side. Give it a click, open the inspector. You've got the preset, so you can change the direction. We can increase motion blur, and we can give it an acceleration curve by changing the ease to in and out, and you've really quickly got a nice way of animating something to pop in and pop out. If I hold Alt, drag the transition to the end, and we've got a super quick animated PNG. I actually talked about loads of transitions in my transitions video, which is also on my channel. Next up, rounded corners. Simple thing, but it's actually tricky to do unless you know how. All you want to do, open up the Open Effects, From within here, I'm going to search for the transform tool. We'll drop transform on this. Once again, you can do this on PNGs, images, videos, or whatever. Then within the inspector, come down to image adjustment, and you've got edge rounding and edge softness. It's the quickest way to do that in Davinci Resolve. Still using these transform controls, let's make this a little bit smaller. Next up, something I use all the time, drop shadow. Same place, from the open effects, we're just going to search for the drop shadow. We'll pop that on there, and then we get a nice drop shadow effect. Still within the inspector, we can change the strength, the angle, the distance, the blur, and the color. Bonus tip. Sometimes, especially if you're doing YouTube, you may need to make a thumbnail. You probably want to get a screenshot out of the video that you're currently working on. You can. Within Resolve, simply put your playhead to the point where you want the still. So I'm going to go with right there. Then we simply click on File, come down to Export, and we can export the current frame as still. Choose the location, save it, job done. Next up, last but not least, export template. So you probably get to the project every single time you jump over to the deliver page, and then you spend a few minutes setting up all of your render settings. But you probably don't need to, because I'd imagine they're the same every single time. So here we are on the deliver page, and in the top left hand corner you can see I've already got some presets set up. The main one I use for my YouTube is simply called YouTube with subs. Now, for those curious, this is how I export all of my YouTube videos. I use QuickTime, H.265, the encoder is NVIDIA, the resolution is 4K, frame rate is 30, and I simply set my quality to best, and I use main 10. Now, the reason I use QuickTime is in audio, then you can set your codec to be linear PCM, and you can use 48,000 as the sample rate and the bitrate of 32, which basically means you get really good quality uncompressed audio within your videos. I also use this new feature, audio normalization. I have the normalize audio ticked, optimize to standard, and then select the standard as YouTube. That will overall increase the loudness of your video to be within the right threshold for YouTube, while making sure that any peaks, any really loud bits, don't go over the threshold. So it should give you nice balanced audio without any crazy spikes, and it means when you upload it to YouTube, it should sound about right. Quick note, that won't actually level all of your audio, so you still need to do some work on the timeline, but when it comes to rendering, that will sort out all of your general loudness in a jiffy. Then to save that as a preset, once again, you click on the three little dots, and then there is an option to save as new preset. So let's just call this YouTube demo or whatever, and then click on OK. And then we've got YouTube demo, top left-hand corner. We can simply select it whenever we want to export using those settings, add to the render queue, render it out, and job done. And that just about covers it. Thanks to Gling.ai for sponsoring this video. As mentioned, check the link down in the description below. Thanks for watching, take it easy. I'll see you next time.